Thank you for tuning in live. This is episode, I don't even know anymore, 24, I believe, of 26 Sports. We are on with the one, the only blonde bomber, Ebony Bridges. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you doing, Mike?
I'm doing good, good. I'm finally glad we are able to get you on. I know we had a little misunderstanding on Saturday about the times, but good thing
Yeah,
we were able to get that corrected today.
yeah.
Yeah.
All good. Yeah, I was like, oh no, 5 a.m. I'm like, I didn't sign up for this.
I know when I had checked it, I don't know why Google told me PM, so I was like, "Oh, we're good." And then I was like, "Hold on, if that's 12
Yeah,
here," I was like, "Oh no!" And then I was like, "But good thing I caught it the night before, because that's when I realized, and that's why I sent you the message. I was like, if she's
yeah,
asleep right now, I was like, we're done." But I was glad we were able to get it
yeah,
corrected. But yeah, I'm happy to have you on. I know a lot of people were asking me from the other day when I mentioned it. Oh well, when is she gonna come back on? And I was glad we were able to get it
yeah,
taken care of right away. So good thing to hear.
yeah, yeah. Lucky. Yeah, I'm on school holidays, so
Yeah,
it worked out okay.
yeah. So,
Usually I'd be at work by now.
so speaking of that, because I know a lot of people want to know how did you get into boxing? Because as you said, you're on holidays right now. You're a teacher. So how did you
Yeah.
go from teaching to boxing? Did one of the kids piss you off one day that you're like, you know what, I can't punch him, so I'm gonna have to go over here and punch somebody in the gym?
Nah. It probably started from a really young age. Look, I started martial arts when I was 5. I started karate, as you do, but I went kind of all the way with karate. I got my black belt in karate. I stuck to that
Oh,
for 8 years.
okay.
And then, yeah, pretty much as I went to high school, I was like, I want to do something a little bit more aggressive, and karate's good. It's great for discipline. And man, it's crazy some of the stuff that I was doing when I was young, like as a kid, like hand conditioning stuff, breaking boards and that, and just that mind discipline that kind of martial arts. And I mean, especially my place where I was doing it was like, the stuff they instilled in you, like trying to push through like planks. And I mean, I remember we used to have to do like not knuckle push up, but like a knuckle plank hold
Oh,
on like this is like I'm like 8, right? I'm like 8 or 9. Knuckle plank hold on this like board that we're about to break. So it's kind of like we had to make this connection with this board by doing a plank on it for like 5 minutes, and I'm 8. Like, and then after that, we're meant to break it, and I remember the first time I tried to do that, I didn't break it. I was crying because I was like, I'm a
oh,
failure. But my hands, after doing that, like my hands and my arms are so, I couldn't even punch. Like it was just crazy. But it just teaching you that kind of that mind power, that discipline, and to keep pushing. So martial arts was an amazing thing to do from a kid, and I'd recommend it for any child to start martial arts young. So yeah, I kind of had that. Yeah, and like I said, we didn't do like full contact sparring, obviously, or fighting or tournaments. It was all, semi-contact tournaments, and then I was like, I just want to do stuff where I can, obviously punch shit out of people, and then I went into kickboxing and Muay Thai. But I didn't know when I was like, 13, 14 that actually it was illegal for women to fight in Australia. I didn't know that back
oh
then.
wow.
Um, yeah, so I was training and stuff, but I was never really able to fight or anything. And obviously, I enjoyed my training, but it got to a point where I'm like, oh, like why am I doing this if I can't actually compete? Because I'm quite competitive.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, so that's where that kind of basis started. And obviously, being into, I was always into from starting karate from so young. Into like I was like that girl that was I was a tomboy, and everything I wanted to do was hit things and break things, and all I wanted to do is watch action. Like I remember going down to the like local video shop, and I used to always get like Van Damme, and I'm like 9, 10, and the guy that worked at the shop would be like, "Oh, you like Van Damme, huh?" Like thinking I liked him for the perv, but I just liked to see him bashing people, and I liked
Yeah.
seeing all that kind of stuff. So yeah, like I only watched all the action movies and stuff, and watching boxing, Costa Zoo growing up was, he was my
Right.
hero. And, so I just, it kind of all came place. And, when I was doing the kickboxing, I was training at that gym, and then I started doing card girling, holding the cards up because I couldn't
Yeah.
fight. So my trainer was like, well, would you like the promoter was like, oh, well, do you want to do cards? Like do the cards? I was like, fuck yeah. Just sit ringside, get to like watch people get like, blood and like all this kind of stuff like ringside and I get paid for it.
Yeah.
So I actually did that for about 10 years while I was doing body and I did bodybuilding. So yeah, I mean, it just all kind of came into it. All just everything led to one thing. I wasn't like some people that just get up and go, you know what, I just want to start boxing. I want to go to a
Yeah.
boxercise gym, and all of a sudden, oh, this is fun. Like maybe I want to fight, or someone tells me, hey, you should fight. It wasn't like that. It was something that I'd always kind of had inside of me from a young age, and it just happened to be when the timing was right. It just happened. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, as much as I wish I started a lot earlier. I mean, actual boxing and competing in it. I think everything happens for a reason, and I think my 8 year or 10 years of lifting and bodybuilding career definitely has helped me in my boxing for like the power and the strength that I have. So yeah, I mean everything fell into place right,
Yeah.
and I mean and maturous and like really driven now. So
Yeah, and that's a good thing. And as
that's
you
my
said,
story.
it built you to where you're at now. And uh,
Yeah.
the you said you were a ring card girl now. So doing that,
Oh yeah.
how did that like experience being so close? How did that help you more? Like want to jump into the ring?
Well, the funny thing is because obviously I was still training, like I'd be just training in like
Hmm.
kickboxing and stuff, and like I'd be sitting there like obviously watching, thinking like, oh man, like I wish I could get in there,
Yeah.
or just like but it was never really it was never really something that I thought was like kind of possible, if you know what I mean,
Yeah.
like because it wasn't legal. It was illegal in a different state, but I was so young, I'm like I'm not gonna like train that hard and then go to another state, and
Yeah.
it just wasn't really kind of realistic like when you're
Yeah.
young. Um, and yeah, and then I got into bodybuilding. I was about 3 years into my bodybuilding, and then it became legal. And I was like, well, I'm on my bodybuilding path now.
Right.
I've got a different goal, so it kind of didn't interest me. But I
Right.
did. I loved doing the cards. I was one of the most popular card girls in Australia. I used to get flown all around Australia to hold cards for like Foxtel events, like Fox Sports and stuff. A lot of kickboxing and Muay Thai, a little bit of boxing, but mainly kickboxing and Muay Thai. So yeah, I kind of stuck in it, and obviously had a lot of like fans from that because everyone loves the card girls.
Yeah.
But so then when I transitioned into boxing, I had a lot of fans already, and everyone's like, "Oh wow, like the card girls turned boxer,"
Yeah.
and so I had a lot of people interested in that and already wanting to watch me fight and stuff. So I always had a good rig on me, obviously from the bodybuilding, so everyone knew I was like really fit and strong. So yeah, I mean yeah, it was good. It was good. I used to love Carly. I love Carly Girl. I'd probably still do it now. Like if it wasn't
Yeah.
fighting, like I do love it. It's fun. It's great to sit there ringside. It's entertaining. I'm a crowd pleaser. I'm an entertainer. So yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
Check the booty.
so so with that, as you said, a lot of people were interested in that. So you already had a big following before you even stepped into the ring. Now you have a big following from social media, all the things, and then like
Yeah.
I told you, I have seen a few of your fights. It was bits and pieces from what people recorded,
Mm.
but I did see it. So my thing is always, I know a lot of people see girls fight and they come out with, oh well, it's because she's pretty, it's this, it's that. I seen and I noticed you can really fight. It's not just that. And me, I don't care what the person looks like, man or women. If you could fight,
Yeah.
I'm gonna watch it.
Of course.
So when I seen that, I was like, no, she could really fight. And obviously,
Yeah.
it's not the looks that keeps driving everything. It's that you could really fight. And
Yeah.
with the momentum that you were building, I know you were in the U.S. I believe last year or the year or so.
Yep.
With the
No, this
momentum,
year, beginning of this year. Yeah.
yeah, that's right. At the beginning of the year. Well, I'm sorry. This has been
For
such a
my
long
fight.
year.
Yeah, no, that's I know it has. Well, I was in America last year. I was in
Yeah.
America a few times last year, but not for the fight, but just a
Yeah.
few times I went to the fights, and I went to a few fights. I went to Pacquiao, Charlo, Hogan.
Oh yeah.
So I did go to a few fights last year, and then I obviously went to Wilder Fury this year and my fight. So I'm in America a bit,
Yeah.
except for obviously during COVID.
Yeah.
But usually
Obviously.
I like to go to America. It's not too hard for me to go over there. It was starting to feel like a bit of a second home until COVID, because I was like there like 3 or 4 times from November to from December to February. I was back and
Oh
forth
wow.
like
Yeah.
yeah.
And like I was saying, you had the momentum building up in your career, and then this hits. Now, when
Yeah.
this hit at first, did you expect it to go how it's gone, or did you think, oh, we'll probably be clear by the summer or something like that?
Yeah, I had no idea. I thought maybe 3 months. Like I was prepared for 3 months. Um, I mean, but I didn't look. I'm one of those people, and mainly because of last year when I snapped my ankle, that I realized that everything happens for a reason. You just got to
Yeah,
embrace the thing. And I knew that it's meant to happen, and something good will come of it. I knew
yep,
something good would come of it because that's just what happens. And I found that out last year with my broken ankle. Like so many good things come from it. So I was like, yeah, fuck yeah, this is mad. Like I can, like let's see what this is gonna bring for me.
yeah,
And look what it has done for me. It just so happens that I've built up a huge fan base.
yep,
Just obviously my personality and how I interact with people and stuff, and that's just me being me. It's not even a hard thing. It's not hard. I just do me, and it's given an opportunity to have the time to do it. Um, and yeah, of course, I can fight.
yeah,
And I'm really looking forward to getting in that ring again. But it's just given me another whatever 8 months to just keep building and keep getting better. During COVID, it was good to be able to dial it back and really focus on all the little things that instead of just being in camp trying to get fit and just smash yourself and like it was just building on techniques and just those little things, which hopefully I can bring into the ring. I learned a lot from my last fight. There's a lot of things that I wanted to improve on. So yeah, I know time will tell when I jump in there, but yeah, like you said, I can fight. I know I can fight. I'm not like a boxer. I'm not, a Olympic pathway style amateur boxer.
yeah,
I am a bit rough. I am a bit unorthodox at times. I'm strong. So, and a lot of my inspirations and the fights that I've been watching for years is all the Mexican fighters and all those kind of stuff. So I think
yeah,
it's just kind of, and I'm short and I'm stocky and I'm strong. So it kind of works. But yeah, I just know that no matter what, it's going to be an exciting fight. Whatever I do, hoping to win them all. But I just know that I've got a fan friendly
yeah,
fight style. So I think that's what's kind of exciting.
yeah, and that's what I was noticing in your fights is not like, as you said, you're not an orthodox fighter. You're different, but you can bully a fighter in there. Like you could get to
Yeah.
him, get inside, and as you said, the Mexican style type of fighting where you get inside, you go to the body, you hit him, you rough him up, but legally, not like
Yeah,
illegal
no, I'm
punches.
definitely yeah.
So it
I'm
it was fun
definitely
to see that from
yeah.
you.
Yeah, I'm definitely not a dirty fighter.
Yeah,
Because I like to fight.
yeah,
So I don't like holding and I don't like doing all that because I like to punch and fight. Like,
yeah,
don't hold me on the inside. Let's fight. You know
yeah,
what I mean? Like, and I love that. Not many people will sit and fight with me on your side. Like, if you see my fights, they're usually going backwards and it's not really big toe to toe trading. But yeah, like I mean, I do love that style of fight but again, that's just the opponents that I've been against. It's been good to do that. And it's been, I suppose, not easy to do that, but it's worked like that. But
yeah,
I am versatile, but I just haven't had to be versatile
yeah,
yet. That style has worked. So yeah,
yeah,
and I
and
enjoy it. So
yeah. When I was watching it, I was like, "Oh, it's gonna cut it off at this round." Like, what the? Come on, now there's got to be more of this. But as you said, you guys have moved the videos off to give you a little bit more of an advantage.
yes,
So
yeah,
I understand
yeah.
it's a
I've
little
taken
harder.
Yeah, I've taken everything down. I did have stuff up, but actually, it was like at the beginning of the year when I was trying to get some opponents. Yeah, it was just like, you know what, I'm just better to take everything off the list. And I do want to put up stuff. I'd love to put up sparring and stuff for my fans, so people can see, that I can fight. Because I know a lot of people question it. Like just because that's just people in general.
Yeah,
They get jealous and they think, oh, well, could you actually fight? Because you don't really see much. But I have nothing to prove to anyone. I don't need to put up stuff to prove to everyone that I can fight. You'll see when I fight that I can
yeah,
fight. I'm not going to give any advantages to my opponents. I'm not at that level yet. I know as we get higher, of course, there's going to be footage on there, but why should I
yeah.
give footage for
Now,
them to study now? Why? When I just, like it's not really necessary, and I don't think it's, yeah, I don't think it needs to be done. And I'm sorry to my fans that want to see me bashing the shit out of people and knocking people out in sparring, because I'm sure you that I do. And I can have sparring partners that can say, yep, I got knocked out,
yeah,
but I'm not going to put it up because I don't need to show off, and I don't need to prove anything. I'll prove it in the ring, God willing, and yeah, and get a lot more fans.
yeah. And now you're still relatively early in your career. You don't have so many
Yeah,
professional fights. But again, you have the following. You've won. You haven't lost. You got a couple stoppages on your record as well, which is a
yeah,
little different for women's boxing because of the shorter rounds. Makes it a little harder for the knockouts to come. So
yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. I was thinking about the knockouts, right? And I look at my fights, and well, my first one, I mean, I should have stopped her, but I snapped my ankle.
yeah,
So I had no power through my back leg. I was fighting with a broken ankle, like, you know. And I look at my second fight, and at the 2 minute mark, I hit her really hard and knocked her into the ropes, right on the bell. And that's she was like, dazed. Like I feel like if we had the 3 minutes, she would have got a counter. I would have been able to finish that in the first round.
yeah,
But then, and then my third fight, I dragged that one out. Like I didn't want to. I need the experience. I need the
yeah.
ring experience. I've been pro boxing for 2 years, and I've only done 12 rounds, 12 full rounds in the ring.
Three
You
rounds
know,
per fight, pretty much.
unfortunately, even not even my first fight was 3 rounds. My second fight was 2 rounds, and my last fight was 1 round. I mean,
Yeah,
my third fight was 1 round, and then I managed. We got a really tough opponent for my last, a durable opponent, so I could get 6 rounds out in my last fight.
yeah,
The Crystal Hoy, she was tough, man. And she fought like 9 world champions and hadn't been stopped. So I mean, it was definitely that we needed that kind of fight because I do need the rounds.
yeah,
Don't get me wrong, I love knocking people out, but I want to learn. I want the experience, especially this early on.
yeah,
Because it's going to teach me, yeah. So it's good. And I find that when I stop, I'm like, oh, is that it? Like I want to keep going
yeah,
sometimes. You know what I mean? And I know that's going to change once I start moving up. Going forward, like those longer fights, I'll be like, fuck, let's just get it done and get the fuck out.
yeah,
Like, you know what I mean? But just while I'm learning, I think it's I'm not too fussed. It just so happens that how it is. But yeah, I mean, I'm hoping for some step up fights, and I'll embrace anything that comes my way. I'm a fighter through and through, and no, I don't really. Of course, I want to win. Everyone wants to win. Everyone wants to be a champion, but I just love to fight. So whatever,
no,
you'll know that it will be a good fight.
yeah. And that's the thing when people are given the chance to watch you once hopefully things clear up or you're able to get the
Mm.
opportunity from somebody is that they'll actually enjoy the fight because you're gonna bring it. From what I've seen,
Yeah, I'll bring
you
it.
bring it in
Yeah,
sparring, so they're gonna enjoy it.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah, no, definitely. I think the one thing, a big difference with me, and I get a lot of feedback for my fights, is that a lot of girls, especially like the newer girls, I don't know, a lot of them if they come through the amateurs, there are a lot of very 1-2 fighters, one
yeah,
two one, hook, 1-2-3. They don't really mix it up and down. I'm not really big on body shots or uppercuts, and like that's one thing that I think that stands out for me, especially as a
yeah,
female fighter. If you watch my fights, it's all combos. Like
yeah,
it's we mix it up, keep you thinking.
yeah.
So
And that's why I'm saying they're gonna like it more because you do
mm,
what fighters maybe 20, 30 fights are doing in the combos, the
yeah,
movement. As I said, you can bully these fighters when you want to, so
mm,
that's going to bring more excitement because I believe women's fights are going to get pushed to that 3 minute mark at some point soon,
yeah,
and you guys are going to be getting those knockouts.
yeah.
I know it's rare
I'll be
now.
getting them without the 3 minutes. Watch me.
Okay, okay, that's what I want to hear. I know the
Then
fans are
you'll
going
be
to love
like,
to
you
hear
know
that.
what? You don't. Then you'll be like, you know what? We don't need 3 minutes. We just need someone with some power and how to sit on their punches.
Exactly. so
And
so
hopefully, I mastered that for my next fight.
let's see, and hopefully that fight comes soon because I know you guys had
Yeah,
an event recently with Kotetsu Sun and
yeah.
Jeff Horn.
Tim Zoo.
So
Yep,
so
yep.
that should be big news. I mean that was big because it shows that you guys are opening up a little bit more. I know the
Well,
restrictions over there was a little bit harder than what they've been from what I've seen and been
they
told around
are
the world.
they are insane at the moment. So that fight was in a state up north, and it's all good that they can have crowds there, but no one is allowed in that state. The borders are closed. You
Oh
can't go
wow.
between states. So you can't actually travel into another state. We're all locked down in our own states. Every state's closed, the borders. So my state doesn't have crowds. Down south doesn't. They're not. They're on curfew. They're not. They're in lockdown. So that's just the lucky state that happens to be able to put shows on in
Yeah.
sport. And there's actually, it's a very good combat sports state, to be honest. So there is a lot of athletes up there to make those fights. But that card got hats off to the promoters, No Limit and Matt Rose, because I know that that card, like the main amount of changes in about 6 weeks,
Yeah.
with all the new regulations, they had to find new opponents, they had to find, because it was going to be like a, obviously some international fighters from New Zealand were going to come over, and then that couldn't even do that. So then it was like state versus state. Then we couldn't even do that because the borders closed. So then they had to try and replace fighters like in the last 2-3 weeks with local like state talent. So it was hard to hold that card together, but they did it really well. And the main thing was that the main fight was put on, and I know that Tim went up there early, knowing that that was a possibility that the borders would close. So Tim's from my state, and he went up there early, so to finish his camp up there, so there was no problems with that.
That was good, and
But not everyone can afford that.
yeah, and he put on a really good performance and pulled out the win in that fight.
Amazing,
Yeah,
amazing, amazing. We all know how Tim fights. We all
Yeah.
know the skills that he has, his style of fight, and the possibility, if that makes sense. But we didn't know if he was able to do all that at that really high level
yeah,
with someone as awkward and wild as Horn, because he's very, like sometimes those awkward, wild fighters, they are hard to handle. Like you've
Yeah.
seen it, like we've seen it over and over again with Horn and some of his opponents.
Yeah.
So the way he just picked him apart, and just like not phased at all, the control of that fight, it just, gives is even more impressive,
yeah, and
you know.
and he did it essentially with your whole country watching, and then
Yeah.
us, the rest of the world starved for sports. I mean, I was up watching it early in the
Yeah.
morning
Bless.
because
It's
I was
awesome.
like, hey, I want to watch it. So
You want to watch sport, yeah.
yeah, so that was good there, and then I was like, man, this kid gets down, and with
Yeah.
his dad, as you said, you like watching him. He gave me
Yeah.
the worst feeling as a fan in boxing, actually, when he beat Chavez Senior, because that's my everything idol.
But yeah, I love Chavez as well, and I still like every time he got beat, I was upset.
Yeah, that
But
one.
yeah.
I was 9 years old, I believe, and I remember,
Oh wow, yeah.
or a little bit older. No, I was like 10 or 11. I just sat outside, like gazing out there. I was like, man, that dude really just beat the crap out of him. But what I really respected from him was he even said it. This wasn't the Chavez Senior that
No, yeah.
the world knows, and I felt he let up a little bit to not inflict so much punishment, because at the end of the day, he knew that wasn't the real Chavez Senior in
What
there.
it was, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
It
so-
was what it was. It was an opportunity for Kostya,
Yeah.
to go without a good name on
On the
the
record.
resume, and
Yeah.
get him at the right time, really.
Yeah, and I mean, he had a great career, and now his son looks like he might be on his way to doing it as well.
Definitely, yeah, definitely. So I know that they're trying to get a fight for Tim in November, late November or December.
Okay,
So
it
they're
might be
working on
able
that.
to- So
Yeah,
just jump on there and tell him to throw you on there. You'll sneak out or something.
yeah.
I'm Mexican. I could show you some tricks about how to get over things. That's how we got over here to begin with in the
Yeah.
U.S.
Yeah, that's right.
So,
Love it.
but now with boxing, who were some of your favorite fighters watching growing up, or who do you see to maybe input some of their skills and techniques into your own?
Chavez, obviously, pretty much one of my top there favorite fighter, I'd say. And I mean, I've got so many, to be honest. It just depends on what I'm looking at. Like today, for example, if you ask me today, it might change tomorrow. But yeah, definitely Chavez. Like I said, Costa growing up, definitely was a big influence. Barrera, Morales, Pernell Whitaker. I respect Mayweather is amazing.
Yeah.
Mike Tyson. Yeah, I mean, Julian the Hawk Jackson.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Man, there's so many that I love to watch, but they're the ones that are coming to me now. James Toney, love James Toney. Nigel Benn, like
Yeah.
Ricky Hatton. Like these are all the
Ricky.
kind of the fighters and styles that I like. Sanchez,
Legend.
Valerio. Like these are all the fighters that I love to watch and that I can watch over and over.
Yep.
I did have and I go through stages. Like a couple of years ago, I was really, really into Cotto and really into, like De La Hoya and stuff. But it's just depends,
Yeah.
I think on my mood. But yeah, like they're all amazing. They're all great. But
Yeah.
I definitely say in my top 10, I would say 70% are Mexican.
That's a good
Chocolate
number to
Cheeto,
have.
but he's not Mexican. But yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And he actually just got his fight announced for towards the end of October, around in Mexico. So that's big right there too.
awesome.
Yeah. And
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing him in there. He's
that's
amazing.
yeah, and that's
His
what I
last
tell
fight was
people.
epic.
Oh my god, I jumped out of my seat,
Epic.
and I tell
I know.
people I'm not where I do now. I don't root for fighters. I've gotten to that point where
Yeah,
I just want to see the fight because I know so many of the fighters. But with him,
yeah,
it's different. I've always been a fan, and when he knocked him down, and that's the thing is with Kaya Fai, I actually have spoken with him. I met him when he came to
yeah,
my hometown to fight, and he's a real good guy, real humble, real good dude. But I'm sitting there like, come on, and then he knocks him down. I'm like, yes, yeah, and then I was like, oh damn, like
oops.
yeah, and but it was then I go on Twitter and I see all like everybody, oh the king is back, the king is back, and it's Chocolatito just has that aura or that feeling that he rubs off on people of like, man, you can't help but root for this guy. So yeah, when he
No,
when he
yeah,
won that
yeah.
year, I was so excited for him.
Yeah, I love watching his fights. I love his fights with Estrada. I mean, all these fights, and it's a similar thing with Nonito.
Oh yeah,
When he came back and fought Inyao, like that was another, like, man, that's one of my favorite fights last year. Like I've
yeah,
watched that fight probably about 4 times, 5 times, you
yeah.
know. Yeah, so I'm also actually a massive fan of Sean Porter.
Oh yeah.
Massive fan of Sean Porter as
It,
well.
it,
And always have been. All my friends here in Australia know that. A big fan. Always shout him out. And I remember with a Spence fight, and I was like, man, you guys, like, and everyone's telling me I'm on drugs, saying, are you on drugs? Like saying that, like Sean's could beat him. Like it's
yeah.
a really, really hard fight. Like, for Spence, it's not going to be as easy as everyone thinks. And because I do a podcast as well, Punches from the Pods. But I remember talking about that fight leading up to it and then after it, and being like, yeah, mate, see, I told
Yeah,
you
it was
so.
close. It was a close fight. It was a good fight. Yeah, and
Yeah,
it's funny because I tell a lot of people to like I got my love from boxing from my father. Pretty much was watching fights since I was a kid, and he's old school Mexican, so everybody automatically assumes he only roots for Mexican fighters, and it's
yeah,
funny. I would sit there and I'm like, actually no, he put me up on Terry Norris, Pernell Whitaker, all these different
oh yeah,
fighters.
yep,
But Sean Porter is one of his favorite fighters. He always tells me, "How can you not go for a guy like him? He's just so fun to watch."
right. He just
And
brings it every single. It's
yeah,
exciting, and that's yeah.
it's what you want to see. And
And that's the kind of fighter that I like to be and that I want to be is like just going there. He fights anyone, you know what I mean? And he always brings
anywhere,
it. Like,
yeah,
and that no matter what, it's going to be a good fight. You can't, it's going to be a good fight,
yeah,
even
and,
if you're not rooting for him, it's going to be a good fight.
yeah. There's gonna be something that's gonna
Exciting
happen in
fight
a
to
fight.
watch.
Yeah, there's gonna be
Yeah.
something there that you're gonna be like, "Oh wow!" Like, or you're gonna sit
Yeah.
there and just marvel at his movement, at how he gets inside
His
and
movement,
rough
like
somebody up.
his last fight, wow. Like I mean, it would have been nice to see him stop the guy, but to watch him move like that for 12
Yeah,
rounds, I was like, wow, look at you, Sean. Like, I mean, it was epic. Like,
yeah,
to see all that kind of stuff. So, no, it's good. Yeah. And that's what
yeah.
it's about, entertainment and entertaining fans and putting on a show and giving it your all.
Exactly, and that's what the fans want to see. And when fighters like Sean, the Charlos over the weekend put on a show,
Yeah.
and as you said, the times I've seen you fight, you put on a show, even though they're just clips. But I know once you get that
Yeah.
opportunity, once that big fight, everybody's gonna know that you're for real, that you're legit. It's not
Yeah.
just something to look at on Twitter or Instagram. They're
Yeah.
gonna be like, oh damn, I better watch out because if I run into her, she
Yeah.
might knock me
And
out one day.
yeah, and I really do believe that, a bit like, I mean, you got like Pearsoon, for example, like just the way she bring it to Katie Taylor,
Oh, that
like it's
was a
just those kind of
beautiful
things
fight.
where, like, it's kind of like win or lose, I think I'm going to gain respect.
Yep.
when people see me in the ring. You know, you can't not. You know, I don't sit back and my head doesn't snap back, and I'm
Uh,
not fucking running away and sitting on the ropes and looking like a, you know, like a little princess. It's not like
uh,
that. So I mean, and I feel like that's what people probably expect,
yeah.
and I hope my opponents expect that, so they underestimate me.
And you know what? With the Pursoon and Katie Taylor fight, I was that whole week leading up to the fight. I was like, "This is the fight of the weekend. This is the fight right here. This
Yeah,
is the best fight." And everybody's like, "The two girl fights. That's who." And I'm like, "I
yeah,
guarantee you, this fight is gonna take it this weekend. The girls." And I'm like, "Okay, doubt me." And then later on, man, they got down. Man, they didn't
yeah,
stop throwing. And I was like, "What did I tell you? Those they
crazy.
know how to fight." And that was just a great fight to match the first fight that they had. So,
Yeah, yeah.
and for me, I tell
I
people
got
all the
tired
time,
watching it.
"Hey, for reals." In the second one, I'm like, "How are you guys not breathing hard?" Like until the last round. Then I was like, "Okay, thank you. You made me feel
Yeah,
bad."
yeah. You are human, and you look like the
Yeah.
Terminator, but you're human.
Yeah, they were just nonstop. I'm like, man, I'm about to go get me a towel and wipe myself down because I'm sweating for you
Yeah,
guys. And yeah, it's fun to see those type of fights. And like I tell people, for me, what I do on the show here, it's just me. I just talk to however many fighters I can, but I
yeah,
love bringing more attention to women fighters, to just women in sports in
yeah.
general. I have a little daughter. I believe I've told you that before, and
Yep.
I want her to grow up and know that it's not going to be one of those things where when she's 21, she's going to hear, "Oh, this is the first time the woman has done this. Oh, this is the
Yeah,
first time a woman has done this." It's going to be normal and natural just to
yeah,
see that. So that's why I always love having women on, love bringing women onto the show with speaking with them because I have a daughter and I want her to have more
yeah.
than one person like my fiance, her
Exactly.
mom, to look up to in sports. So
Yeah,
I love that. So I love having women on,
that's
and,
awesome.
and especially with boxing now because it's on the rise again. It had a good run in the
Yeah.
'90s, but now I mean we see, as you said, Katie Taylor, Delphine Pursoon, Clarissa Shields, Francis Cruz, the Zern.
Yeah.
Had her on before. You yourself. And then we had this fight that was just announced yesterday. Big fight here in the U.S. and Mexico, pretty much, with Salim Urbina and Marlon Esparza.
Ah,
That
how
is
cool is that fight?
that,
That is, I'm so excited.
and it's funny because I had talked to Salim so much about that. Like, do you think you guys will fight? She's like, eventually. I know it's gonna happen, but who knows when? And when they announced it yesterday, I was like, yes. I was like, oh my god. I texted her. I was like, hey, I was like, I'm pumped up for this fight. I can't wait. She's
Yeah.
like, thank you. And that's how you know because that post came out, and within 15 to 20 minutes, my timeline on Twitter was like, I can't wait for this fight. Can't wait for this fight. And it was all
Yeah.
them. And then it was like, oh yeah, the
And
rest of
that's
the
so
card's good.
cool. That
Yes.
it's, yeah, it's what I didn't even know there was the rest of the card.
Yeah. I was like, oh, there's other fights. Oh,
Who's
okay.
who else is on the
Yeah.
fight? Nah, legit. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's good to see that momentum and see that support for the female fights. You know,
Yeah.
it's awesome. It's unreal. You know, we're not getting pushed aside, we're not getting brushed under the mat. Like it's, you know, we're getting talked about, which is that's what that's the main thing, and that's, you know, what I love, and that's what I think I also bring to women's boxing is that people are talking about it. People are talking
Yep.
about me. People want to see boxing and to see it for whatever reason they want to tune in. And I think also not having so much footage also makes people very curious
Yeah.
to want to tune in. You know, so you know, people want to see what the Blonde Bomber's about.
Yeah. And that's the thing is, yeah, first they're gonna be caught by the looks. But
Yeah,
for me, if the person looks amazing, but I see them in the ring and they're look wild, I'm like, oh, you know what, whatever, I'm gonna change it
yeah,
because I'm not there to just
yeah.
look
So,
at
but in
someone.
the end, it's boxing.
Exactly. So they're
Like
gonna be
you're a boxing fan.
yes. If I want to see something else, I'll watch something else. That's not what I'm here
Yeah,
for.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
but I think with you, they're gonna be like, okay, well, let's see. Oh, damn! Did you
yeah,
see that? Okay. Oh, she could really fight. Like that's what gets me. Like for me, the women fighters of any sport, I love Amanda Nunes in MMA, Cyborg, Gina Carano when she was fighting, Thug Rose, Nama Yunus. That's one of my favorite fighters right there. And a lot of people have told me like, oh well, you know, they're not. And I'm like, I don't care. They can fight. That's what I care about. They can
yeah.
fight. I don't
Can
care what you
fight.
think
Yeah,
about
yeah,
how they
exactly.
look. They could fight,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
that's to me what's important. And at the end of the day,
yeah,
everybody has their own thoughts on what looks are. I really don't care. They're great
Yeah,
people
yeah.
from what I've heard
Well,
and noticed. So
yeah,
hey, and they can fight.
exactly. Well, in the end, you know, you might get fans for a certain way. For example, my personality, I might get fans for my personality. I might get fans for my looks, whatever it may be. But in the end, the legitimate boxing fans, they'll stay fans if I can fight, and
Yep.
that's where it matters is in that ring, you know. And I think that once I finally have another fight, that I think that's when I'm gonna, you know, God willing, put on a great performance and show everyone, you know,
Yep.
fight and get more real boxing fans, maybe real boxing fans that might have just possibly looked at me and gone, "Oh no, she can't box."
Yep.
Just there are old school people out there, people like that are just looking at you and she can't box, like you know,
Yeah.
and haven't even seen me yet. So hopefully that's you know something that happens, and you know, God willing, and I pray for it, and yeah.
Yeah. And as we said with all the fights this year, women may have had a better run of fights. I mean, I forgot to mention.
I think we've taken over. I think we've taken over 2020.
Yeah, I forget to mention Terry Hopper and Natasha Jonas.
Yeah,
That was
yeah.
a
I was
great
gonna say that
fight.
before.
That I'm gonna say. I know a lot of people don't agree. I thought Natasha won that fight. That's just my
Yeah,
opinion.
I agree. I think Natasha won that fight
Yeah.
as well. It was very close.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's why it was a draw. But I do think Natasha did enough to win it.
Yep.
I love that fight because it was a big it was very variable, a lot of variation. Like
Yeah.
they fought on the outside, then they showed their skill on the inside. You know, Natasha was amazing on the inside. And I love, you know, I love the inside fight. So, you know, to watch the girls go in and sit and punch, that was awesome,
Yeah.
you know. And, you know, I like Terry. She's a, you know, I like supporting, I'll support everyone. So it was just really good to see those two girls go hard at it and put on such a great performance. To me personally, that's my favorite card. That's been my favorite female fight this year.
I believe mine as well because yeah, I was
Yeah, like
sitting there like,
it rides. Yeah, for me, it rides over Katie Taylor and Pearsoon. I think that was just that one was good for pure grit, but I think the skill and stuff that I saw with those two girls and just how kind of evenly matched it was
yeah,
in skill and just that kind of neatness. I really enjoyed to watch that.
yeah. And for me, with Katie Taylor and Pursuit, it was good. It was good, but then a little bit you could see Taylor taking over towards the end of the fight,
Yeah,
where you're like, okay,
yeah,
she's clearly winning now. With Harper and Jonas, it was like, oh my god, look at, oh whoa whoa,
yeah,
oh she just hurt her,
yeah,
oh she hurt her. It was like,
yeah,
man,
yeah,
I was
yeah,
just
yeah,
stuck. So yeah, that was probably the fight of the year for women, and it's up. It has to be in that list for just boxing in general because it was
yeah,
great back and forth. Um, so I loved it, and then we also got the eyes for what Sinisa Estrada did in her
yeah,
6 second knockout.
yeah.
Everybody was
I mean, everyone
tuning in.
kind of everyone you know everyone says some things about that, but you got to look at it in this way: is that she might have been unmatched. That girl might have been mismatched,
Yeah,
you know. But can everyone just go in there and knock someone out in 6 seconds,
yeah,
mismatched or not? Like,
exactly.
can they? It might take a minute, it might take 2 minutes, it might take 2 rounds, you know, because you might just go and play around because you know what I mean. She just went in there and got the job done and fucked off. Like, I love
Yeah,
that.
yeah, that's
See
what
you
it was.
later.
She knew what she was there to do, and she knew
Yeah,
if she was able to pull that off, she knew the talk that she was going to get from it. I mean, I seen
yeah,
her on shows that had nothing to do with sports where they were talking about her. I seen her on
yeah,
sports shows where they were like, "Did you see this?" So it was one of those ones where I mean, basketball. LeBron James tweeted about it the next morning, like, "Damn, did
yeah,
you see this?" So
yeah,
it's one of those things that not transcended, but had not just boxing and everybody. It had
yeah.
everybody
And it's getting,
talking.
that's what I mean, extra eyes on women's
Yep,
boxing. So, you know,
exactly. Because now people are like, "What if that happens again? Let's tune in. Oh, there's a girl fight
yeah,
on.
just
Let's check
tune
it out."
in.
Yeah.
Exactly. Oh, there's
So
possible. It's possible. Like they
yeah,
do knock them out. Yeah,
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 and hers was one of those that you see. I mean, one of the most vicious knockouts ever, ever, ever in all of boxing is still Ann
yeah.
Wolf knocking out.
Yes.
And
Wanda,
yeah,
someone. Forgot her
and
name. Yeah,
and if you look at that, you're like, man, look at that knockout. But it was a woman's fight. It wasn't a man's fight. Yeah, we've
yeah.
had those crazy knockouts, but hers it was like you could see the intent
Crazy.
and the meanness in that punch, and it just landed, and
Yes.
that was it. It was
And the eyes roll back, and yeah,
yeah,
that was done.
and that's one of the greatest knockouts in boxing history ever,
Yes,
ever.
100%.
So
Yeah.
um, That's why now what Sinisa did with the two fights that we spoke about, and there's been so many more women's fights this year that have been great, but those two really help push more and more.
Yep.
And now with Salem and Marlon fighting in October, that's going to bring more eyes. And then your fight,
Yep.
hopefully when you get it, I would hope that possibly you get it by the end of this year. But as soon as it happens, I know it's going to get everybody that follows you on any platform more eyes. So
Yes.
definitely. And for us local fans over here, maybe it's more available to us as well in the
Yeah.
U.S. But it's something that I wanted to do is to bring you on, and I'm so glad I was able to
Yeah.
get you on. And I would love to
No,
have
I
you
really
on more
appreciate
often.
it.
Oh, definitely, no
Yeah.
problem.
I love talking boxing any day.
Yeah, and now before we go, because I'm gonna head out here.
Yep.
Anybody that you want to give a shout out to? The shirt I seen, I really like the shirt that you have on there.
Oh yeah.
And anybody
That's
that
my
you want to
brand.
shout out, go ahead and do it
That's
right now.
oh, this side. Yeah, Fit Warrior brand.
Yep,
That's in America. They this is my merchandise. They distribute through America.
yep.
So check out their website, Fit Warrior brand, or is it this side? Yeah,
Yeah.
FTWR. I got my merch on there. It's awesome. I got my signature on the back. I don't know if you can see it.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's my.
Oh.
That didn't work. My signature on the back. Sorry about that, guys.
No problem.
Probably that was a real blonde moment. Um, but yeah, so I've got that. What else? Also, I've just got new sponsors. Phil and Ginny. They're from Rich's Boxing. And they're going to be helping me out a lot. So it's a big shout out to them. Absolute legends, amazing people. I've just did a shout out on Instagram, so show some love and support to them. And yeah, just everyone that follows me, honestly. Everyone that shows me love and support and follows me in petitions for me to get onto fight cards and stuff, because it all helps, getting my
Yep.
name out there, and it's all gonna be part of of the Blonde Bomber.
Yeah, and I know the fans that you've already made and more that are coming are gonna be excited and can't wait to see it. Also,
Oh,
really,
I can't hear you. Hold on a second.
no problem.
Now, I've just really stuffed up here with that. Trying to show off my thing. Hello?
Okay, can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
Oh,
Your audio shows that you're on. You may have took it off at the bottom.
I can't hear you. I don't know if
Oh,
you can hear me.
yeah, it does show that you took it off. Can you hear it now? I can hear you. Can you hear me? Okay, guys, we're having a little bit of an issue here. Can you hear me? Touch the screen. Touch the screen. There should be a volume button at the bottom.
It's not working.
No, does it? It doesn't show it on the screen. There should be like a mic or something on there.
I don't know if you can hear me, but I can't hear you, and this really sucks. So
Oh,
I'm gonna maybe we're gonna get out of this, but. So you can hear me? Can you nod? So you say you
yeah.
can hear me? Yeah. Okay. I can't hear you. I don't know why it's not working. But I do really appreciate you having me on,
No problem.
and hopefully we can do this again. And sorry to everyone that's listening that I'm just totally stuffed up there and trying to show the back of my shirt, but and now it's not working. But yeah, cool guys. Just give me a follow on Twitter at Ebony Bridges. And also my Instagram as well. And hopefully we get some fight news soon.
Thank you. All right, guys.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate you.
No problem. Thank you. We'll speak soon. All right. So, Marisol, thank you. And James, shout out to you as well. Also, everybody else, tune in again next week, next Monday, 7 p.m. I will have Christina Poncher from Top Rank, one of the most best commentators in the sport. She's worked her way up. As I always say, she's one of the women queens in boxing, as she's worked her way up through the ranks to get to where she's at. And hopefully she's able to televise and get more coverage soon, because she definitely deserves it. We'll be on the guest next week. Also, we'll be having this month Sulem Arbina speaking about the fight, and we will also have a few other guests. I can't disclose the names yet, but yeah, there'll be a full month here with episodes coming. So again, guys, I want to thank you all for tuning in and listening. Continue to support. Make sure you guys get out there, like, subscribe to the channel. Let's help reach a higher goal. I'm currently at 106 subscribers. Want to reach even more than that. So thank you again. Thank you again to Ebony Bridges for coming on tonight and giving us her time. And to everybody that tuned in to listen and that will listen, appreciate the support, guys. And for game one tonight, let's go Lakers, baby, for Kobe. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll catch you guys next time on 26 Sports.